Good evening and welcome to I-24 News Defense, your weekly review of strategic affairs, security, intelligence and more, brought to you in cooperation with Israel Defense Magazine. Tonight we'll delve into the implications of the latest cyber attack on Israel and witness the inauguration of the latest Israeli Air Force aircraft, the Samson. But before we begin, let's take a look at what else is happening in the world.
We begin in Syria. According to a senior Israeli security source, the Assad regime used a non-lethal chemical weapon on March 27th on the outskirts of Damascus. The source confirmed claims made earlier by Syrian rebels. According to the claims, a substance which neutralizes but doesn't kill was used on rebel fighters in Harasta, an outlying region of the Syrian capital. Moving to Afghanistan, one policeman and two employees of the Election Commission were killed when a roadside bomb struck their vehicle, destroying the ballots they were transferring in northern Afghanistan. Around 7 million people came out to vote in the country's first ever democratic transition of power, in spite of poor weather and Taliban threats to disrupt the election. And in China, U.S. Secretary of Defense Chuck Hagel becomes the first foreign defense official to visit China's only aircraft carrier, Liaoning, in the port city of Qingdao. For 2 hours, Hagel toured the medical facilities, living quarters and flight control station of the Liaoning, and he took a walking tour of the flight deck. The visit was part of a 3-day tour by the defense secretary to the communist superpower.
Back to Israel. The Hackers Collective, also known as the Anonymous, attacked Israel on Monday. Due to massive preparations by many organizations, only minor disturbances have been reported. Before we discuss this attack, here's more.
On April 7th, 2014, we call upon our brothers and sisters to hack the Israeli cyberspace by any means necessary.
And so it was on Monday that the so-called hacktivist group, codenamed Anonymous, launched a cyber attack on Israel. But it was to no avail, according to Israeli intelligence officials, who spoke of only minor slowdowns to dozens of government sites. Anonymous launched a wide-scale campaign against the Jewish state during the November 2012 war with Hamas over what it described as Israeli crimes against humanity.
To the Israeli government, Anonymous has grown tired of your bullying, and now you will see the result of your actions. Israel, the angel of death, has been called to your cyberspace.
According to various estimates, Israeli websites are attacked upwards of 1,000 times per minute. Cyber warfare is thus deemed one of the country's most pressing concerns.
The cyber threat has grown exponentially and is going to get substantially bigger in the coming years. It represents a new dimension of warfare whose global effects are not yet fully understood.
Israel has thus devised and implemented a comprehensive national web defense strategy and today ranks as one of the top countries in the world in terms of cybersecurity. Nevertheless, the dangers remain both real and acute.
We are Anonymous. We are Legion. We do not forgive. We do not forget. To the government of Israel, it is too late to expect us.
Joining me now in the studio is Omel Cohen, the Incident Response Manager at the Israeli Computer Emergency Response Team. CERT, good evening.
Hey.
So with the right preparations, most of the damage can be avoided?
Absolutely. We had on this attack and the one previous years, they give us enough notice, well, not us. Their whole point is to gather as many people as possible to do this attack. So we have enough time to prepare and spread out advisories for people to be aware and know what to do.
And by saying prepare, what do you mean? How can you prepare to such an attack?
So these kind of attacks, we never really know exactly what they're going to do. They spread out tools and they spread out targets that will be attacked. So high value targets like banks and government websites are prepared ahead of time. They have people on board ready to respond. And then the CERT, our group, the Israeli CERT, is this Monday gathered a situation room which was prepared to respond and offer assistance and any intelligence that we gather to relevant parties.
Mm-hmm. What damage can they cause without preparations?
So mainly these kind of attacks result in denial of service, meaning websites go down. Critical infrastructure is never really exposed directly to the internet. So these kind of attacks that are just many different people attacking websites is not going to cause any sort of critical damage to infrastructure or critical environments. But this is just a service disruption, which is it reflects as a bad image for the country not being prepared, but no actual damage.
What about critical intel that they can get through the websites?
So we've seen reports on government officials' emails and phone numbers and personal information. Many of them have been false. Sometimes you see just on random websites people register with their government email, so they're able to get that, but it doesn't really give any sort of access to actual infrastructure.
Because it's too coded for them to reach?
So the environments that are that government officials use it does not sit on the internet. It sits behind firewalls and behind closed doors. So these kind of people don't have access to get that information. What they usually get is just public information, or they hack low priority websites like shopping websites and things like that and get information from there.
Why do they announce the upcoming attack?
Because this is a group of unorganized people. They have random people that declare war or declare targets. We've seen random targets being announced, and people want to gather as much power as they can. This is just the power of the mass in this kind of attack. So they need a couple months in advance to spread the word. They start up Facebook groups, mailing lists.
Obviously. Yeah. Omel Cohen, thank you so much for coming.
Definitely.
We need to take a big breath right now. The Marines are amphibious by nature, and at the Marine Corps Water Survival School, they are taught how to master the water instead of being taken by it. Let's take a look.
At boot camp, every recruit is required to know how to swim before receiving their Eagle Globe and Anchor. But it isn't about swimming. It's about surviving in an aquatic environment. The Marine Corps Water Survival School is where Marines endure the extensive and exhausting 15-day course to become Marine Corps instructors of water survival. The course is designed to allow little recovery time. Marines start the course learning the basics, and they have to catch on quick. Soon they begin rescues and advanced life-saving techniques. In order to make the training as real as possible, Marines must act like panicked drowning victims, struggling with their rescuer and taking him underwater. The rescuer must fight the Marine off, calm him down, then drag him to safety.
It's just not fun. I mean, I like to be in control of what's going on when I'm doing something, and when you're the victim, you have no control. It's all, can your buddy get you across the pool and keep your head above water?
While it may be chaotic, it's still safe. Instructors stand by all sides of the pool. Rescue equipment never more than a quick reach away.
In our environment, it being controlled, it being as safe as it is, we're able to take the Marines out of their comfort zone, still keep it safe.
After 2 weeks of honing their skills in the pool, the Marines take to the beach. They perform various rescues, with and without equipment, all while fighting the waves, current. The Marines walk away from this course with more than just a pair of khaki short shorts. After giving all of themselves to the water for 3 straight weeks, they have earned something.
It's the best of its kind in the world. That is how the Israeli Air Force commander chose to describe the Samson Super Hercules C130J. The first aircraft of the new squadron recently landed in Nevatim Air Force Base in southern Israel after a long flight from the U.S. I-24 News correspondent Charles Biblitzer has more.
Pomp and ceremony at Israel's Nevatim Air Base on Wednesday as the IDF took possession of its latest military asset, the C-130J Super Hercules airplane, codenamed Samson. The Lockheed Martin-made aircraft is a major upgrade to Israel's already potent air force.
The new capability will extend the long arm of the Israeli Air Force. This is the best in its category when you combine the platform itself and the Israeli unique capabilities that were integrated in the C-130J.
The plane's main functions include airborne supply replenishments, the transportation of troops, and perhaps most importantly, special ops. In this respect, the aircraft's predecessor, the Hercules C130H, partook in seminal Israeli military operations, including the 1976 rescue of hostages in Entebbe and 1991's Operation Solomon, which saw more than 14,000 Ethiopian Jews airlifted to Israel. Able to fly 4,000 kilometers without refueling, the new aircraft significantly boosts the IAF's operational capacity.
Samson's advanced systems will enhance Israel's strategic and military capabilities and enable the IDF to work in a precise manner to combat threats in every arena, both near and far.
Wednesday's ceremony was equally a celebration of the relationship between two close allies. While disagreements abound between Washington and Jerusalem, today's event nevertheless evidenced the ongoing robust cooperation between the nations, particularly in the military sphere.
So today we rejoice in the great depth and breadth of our security relationship with Israel. We are partners, we are allies, we are friends through thick and thin.
Joining me now in the studio is Aaron Lapidot, aviation expert and the deputy editor-in-chief of Israel Hayom daily newspaper. Good evening to you, Aaron.
Hi, good evening.
So what are the advantages of the Samson?
Well, this is the, as the commander of the Air Force aptly put it, it's the best of its kind when we're talking about military transport. It can take 3 vehicles, and every plane can airlift 3 vehicles. It can take about 128 passengers or 92 paratroopers with all their equipment. It's about 30% better in every parameter than the older Hercules, the one that we are operating in the Israeli Air Force for a very long time, since the end of the 60s.
Let's talk about his Delilah. Well, soft spot.
No, it's not Delilah. It's a very potent aircraft. And it's faster, it can go further, it can carry more, and it's a very, very advanced aircraft. Yeah, you have to take into consideration that the Hercules, the Hercules family, is the longest produced military aircraft in the history of the world.
So what is secret?
It's very well designed and built for its missions. It's very, very good for the mission it is supposed to do. It can take off and land on very short airstrips, even in remote places, and not in established on established runways. And it can. It is very robust. It is very survivable. It can take hits and still fly.
So this is the perfect transport aircraft for special ops.
Yes, it is, and you have, as the English put it, the proof of the pudding is in the eating. It was a part of every important. Long-range operation that the Israeli Air Force did. The most important ones were mentioned by your reporter, the Entebbe operation and the Solomon operation with the bringing to Israel the Jews from Ethiopia.
Yes. But we're talking about special ops. How do you defend it? It's still a transport aircraft. How do you defend it in special ops?
Well, you don't. It's not a fighter. If you have to defend it against attacking aircraft from a hostile country, then you have to put against these aircraft, similar aircraft of our own. It cannot defend itself. But this aircraft is quieter, it's faster, it can move so that it will not be discovered so easily. So it maneuvers better. So the whole thing, the whole package, make it more survivable. And again, it can take some hits and not to and still return to base safely.
Purchasing it now, there's a meaning about future operations far away from here?
Well, an Air Force like the Israeli Air Force, which is the longest reaching arm of the Israeli Defense Forces, has to have a backbone, a transportation backbone. And that's exactly this aircraft. It is the transportation backbone of the Israeli Air Force. It doesn't necessarily, of course, you're asking about Iran and everything. Right. It doesn't necessarily say that we are going to Iran. But if the necessity arises, then we have a good solution for that.
Ron Lapitot, thank you so much for coming.
Thank you.
That's all we have time for. Be sure to catch us next week for another edition of I-24 News Defense. For all the latest headlines, log on to www.i24news.tv. Have a great night from Jaffa Port.